And now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome into Fighting Chance Kickoff on this Week 15 semi-final Sunday. We've already started the slate a little bit, but we're going to get you the rest of the way.
And there's so much news.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get this stuff out of the way here. I will say, first of all, there's no weather in the middle of December that will impact these games. So that's global warming, I guess, maybe. But yeah, I don't know what to say. It's kind of unprecedented if you ask me. I mean, we had our stuff obviously with Cleveland, but there's nothing on December 20th. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But let's roll in with some of the guys that are out today. Let's start in San Francisco, where we know Deebo Samuel may not play for the rest of the season here with a hamstring injury. So this is going to open the door for Brandon Ayuk just to absolutely smash the slate here against Dallas. And then that's going to open up opportunity, too, for Kendrick Bourne to gain a little steam as maybe a low-end wide receiver 3, certainly a decent flex. We certainly know about Brandon Ayuk and how just fantastic he has been all season. And now he gets a gigantic slice of the pie with obviously no Kittle this week as well. That was announced, and no Deebo Samuel. So where are you on Kendrick Bourne as far as viability this week and, being in the playoffs and trusting a guy like that in your flex or even a low end wide receiver 3?
Zero trust. If you're putting him in at worst, it's a DFS GPP just to see if it's like a 1. You do that in one of your 20 lineups or something. But
okay,
he could go off and catch touchdowns and whatnot, but they haven't really used him as much as we've seen in years past. This is Ayuk. This is potentially Jordan Reed. Really, I mean, this is Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, who I'm sure we're going to talk about. But I just think they're going to do everything they can to keep the ball out of Dalton's red hands.
His red hands. He's been dipping his hand into that Kool-Aid powder. But What do you think about Nick Mullins here today against Dallas?
I definitely think he's in play as, a streaming quarterback. He's probably going to get a couple touchdowns. He's going to have turnovers. You just kind of have to roll with it. Like, I feel like Mullins and Dalton feel very similar to me, even though Dalton has way better weapons, but he doesn't have Kyle Shanahan. And really, that's the X factor, I feel like. Anybody that hasn't heard, even though it's been blasted all over the news, like Brandon Ayuk has been a revelation. He has been so damn good. Top 20 the last 5 games he's played, even in and out of injuries and whatnot. So with somebody like that and a true number 1, I mean, Nick Mullins at least has something. Plus he'll get some probably get a touchdown out of the backfield.
Yeah, for sure. They love to use him in creative ways, but let's not make any bones about it here. Brandon Ayuk is a top 12 play going forward here. I think that's pretty set and forget if you ask me. I will let's go into also for the Washington football team. Speaking of the quarterback, Alex Smith will be out with a calf injury. Dwayne Haskins gets the start, but for fantasy purposes, honestly, doesn't really mean anything. Just brings down Terry McLaurin for me. But, they have, Terry McLaurin is quarterback independent. But even against Seattle, I still think you have to take him down just a little bit here.
I actually disagree. I think that we saw Terry light up on fire and become kind of the star that he is with Dwayne Haskins. He actually has dipped with Alex Smith. I think that Haskins is just going to hyper target him.
Okay. Yeah, this is not the I absolutely agree podcast we've seen in weeks back. So we're butting heads a little bit. I mean, trust me, that's the preeminent Terry McLaurin truther on Twitter.com. He certainly has ability against Seattle. Seattle they haven't given up a wide receiver touchdown in the last 5 weeks, as much as they've been a start all your wide receivers against them defense. They've really tightened up, and they'll give up touchdowns to the running backs, to the tight ends, but wide receiver, they've pretty much clamped down. So I don't know if I really trust the Washington connection there between Haskins and McLaurin to break that trend, but anything can happen. We've seen it time and time again. So we'll go from there. Minnesota will not have Kyle Rudolph today. So with that, it is not that it wasn't officially last week, but it is really Irv Smith season. I like him as a top 8 play today. Anything to add with that, Gary?
No, man, I completely agree. It's hard to figure out that tier of tight ends. You're just kind of taking a punt on them. Not even a punt, sorry. It's better than that. But I like Irv Smith. It's just a tough matchup, but we've seen him be a trusted target for Kirk Cousins. So, man, my words are just not coming to me like normal. So I like it.
All good, my friend. So I'm going to lump these 3 receivers together because these guys, they're all going to be, players that we drafted in the top 3 rounds of drafts back in August and September. Julio Jones, Kenny Galladay, Michael Thomas obviously was a top 8 pick consensus. All out today, varying degrees. Julio Jones with a hamstring. He wanted to play. He did take a platelet-rich plasma treatment, willing to play, but being held out. Kenny Galladay's hip injury will likely keep him out, next week as well. Not sure if he's really going to play the rest of the season. Michael Thomas, we know, won't play the rest of the regular season, being placed on IR. So with Julio, it just vaults up Calvin Ridley as a wide receiver 1. Not that he wasn't anyway, but that work will definitively get him there. But it's a tough matchup against Tampa. We do know about Detroit. Same old with Marvin Jones, Hawkinson, Amendola, and then Michael Thomas being out paves the way here for Traquan Smith to regain a little bit of viability that he had early on in the season. So, what do you think about any of these guys that we mentioned here, Gary?
I am trying to figure out what the heck to do with Traquan Smith. So I am very interested in someone in that passing game, but I'm just curious if it's just going to be Alvin Kamara getting back to being the RB1 on the week with Breeze there. So I don't know. You're kind of just taking a dart with one of the two, with Smith or with Sanders. But regardless, that game is just going to be so much fun. Like, I don't even care. Like, there's so much fantasy implication, but at the same time, I just want to watch that game just for pure football purposes.
Yeah, that game will certainly be fun. Definitely a marquee matchup late in the season. So we'll see how that goes. And keep in mind too, they are getting Drew Brees back. So that's certainly, whatever end of the spectrum you're on with Drew Brees, it is what it is. But certainly, if you rode Taysom Hill to get here, he's not starting. I mean, maybe he'll get you something, but certainly not banking on it today. And then a couple other notes here, questionable and doubtful players. Antonio Gibson is doubtful with toe injury, so that's going to throw in Peyton Barber, J.D. McKissick to split that work. Peyton Barber getting the carries, McKissick getting the passing game role, but, tough to start either of those guys. Honestly, maybe McKissick is a PPR option in your flex. And then Ezekiel Elliott with a calf injury. We've seen just that offense absolutely tank without Dak Prescott. Ezekiel Elliott has taken a lot of, a big shot to his value here. And it's tough to trust him, honestly, as more than a touchdown dependent running back too at this point. So tough to see. Any thoughts on Zeke?
Yeah, I somebody in just one of my DM groups just asked like Zeke or Pollard, and it's just such a weird question, but I feel like if he plays, I don't know. I want to say if he plays, you have to play him, but that's not the case anymore. I think you just fade him. I actually don't know if I would even go with Pollard either. The Niners defense is solid against the run. So I don't know, probably just going to fade it. I think that this is going to be a pass catcher's game.
Yeah. Zeke Elliott is going to get touches. I mean, that's pretty much undisputed there, but the quality of those touches certainly remains to be seen. I believe I have him. I'm starting Lynn Bowden over Zeke Elliott, and I don't even think that's too hot takey. honestly. So it is what it is. And let's go over to some more of the questionable players. We know Matthew Stafford was a guy that we were pretty much pegging in. Chase Daniel is the quarterback for the Lions this week, but Stafford is trending upwards, looking to play today, and he's slated to get the start per Ian Rappaport. So throw him back in your lineups. I mean, certainly not.
I'm not putting him in my lineups.
As not even in a super flex?
So, like, I'm playing Hurts over him because I had that decision. I was debating on Trubisky or Hurts, but now Stafford's in. I'm still going to go with Hurts. We've seen Stafford play through back and rib stuff, or it was back before. It wasn't his ribs specifically. Right. As a quarterback, your ribs are very important. And in particular, the muscles, if they are strained around your ribs, it's going to be very hard to get the full kind of mobility and movement that, comes from throwing a football. So I don't know why they're having him play. They're not playing for anything. I'm going to stay away from pretty much all the pass catchers there other than Hawkinson.
Okay. I mean, I get it. I just like that matchup with Tennessee. They don't really pressure you anyway as a quarterback, but he's lower in my rankings for sure. But I think if you need a quarterback in Superflex, I would go to him, but just know you won't probably get the full on Stafford that you're, certainly been expecting the last little while here.
I want to add to that real quick. So we never actually talked about it on the podcast on Wednesday, but their Pro Bowl center, Frank Ragnow, is out. And while Tennessee doesn't pressure, I am wondering if this is a week where they're going to take advantage of that matchup and maybe do a little bit more pressure, especially knowing that Stafford is probably not going to be able to throw as well as he could. So it's a situation I'm wanting to avoid, and it just further bumps the Titans up that they're going to smash.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Fair points all the way around there. And then going over to some of the other questionable tags here. Daniel Jones with a hamstring ankle, not likely to play. It looks like it's going to be Colt McCoy in for the Giants against the Browns. And when I saw this game being flexed into the Sunday night slate, I mean, I pretty much drew up plans to do anything else but watch that game, but just more than curiosity. I almost wanted to see this game and just see how bad it can get. I don't think this is going to be an all eyes on Sunday night football game with the Giants here. And then Evan Engram with a knee injury, very boomer bust as it is. Add a Colt McCoy into the mix, and he's a fringy kind of start for me, but don't feel great about it. And then some other guys, James Conner with a quad, likely to play, but not sure as far as Benny Snell, what kind of upside James Conner has more than a low end wide running back too. Jamison Crowder, had some limited practices and should play for the Jets this afternoon with a calf injury. And then Miami, Devontae Parker, the hamstring, Gesicki with a shoulder, Jakeem Grant with a hamstring. So a lot of pass catchers down there. I believe it's Parker and Gesicki should play. Jakeem Grant is a true game time decision as well. So,
and if he sits, that opens up for Lynn Bowden to be in the slot, who should be, heavily targeted there. A couple other things I just wanted to add on the other side of the ball, which we don't normally talk about. Darius Slay is going to be out. Not that you're going to sit Hopkins, but he is no longer going to be facing that shadow. And then James Bradbury is out. He was put on the COVID list. And if you don't know, he is top cornerback for the Giants. So I think this is Baker's season. Baker's going to have an awesome game. I think the Browns are just going to completely destroy them. But
yeah, what do you think? It's a Rashard Higgins game more than Jarvis Landry?
I don't see a reason why it needs to be a Rashard Higgins game. We've had a lot of questions from people about that. I think this is still going to be, I think he is definitely a higher end wide receiver 3. He's a solid flex, but Jarvis is firmly entrenched as a wide receiver 2, a higher wide receiver 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And then DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones is a DFS punt play, certainly cheap enough. Had a pretty solid game against the Ravens. So certainly not the worst. Just if you want to punt on a wide receiver and throw it in there with upside, that's a guy that I don't mind throwing in there. So other than that, I think we've pretty much covered everything here. So let's get into some questions because they're starting to fill up a little bit here. Broderick Heron, Cooper Kupp, or Tyler Lockett in PPR?
I'm going to go with Cup. I mean, if you're going against the Jets, I have no reason to think that he's not going to have a really great game. Him, Woods, and Lockett and Akers are all just, high upside, could easily finish as wide receiver and RB1s respectively.
Yeah, and pivoting over to Cam Akers, I mean, if you held on to him for 12 weeks, this is your reward, pretty much. I mean, Cam Akers locked in, hopefully can get you over to the finals here with a, just a big smash matchup here against the Jets, if anybody can do it. I mean, we've seen him just increase his snaps, and on the other side, Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, snaps are going down. So they're starting to pivot over to it's Cam Akers season. I mean, we throw season a lot around here with Brandon Ayuk and all these guys, but truly is Cam Akers season.
It's rookie season. That's what I think
it is.
Ayuk, Dobbins, Akers, and Jonathan Taylor. It's just like, holy shit.
Yeah. Throw J.K. Dobbins in there as a guy that's just, I wish I had more J.K. Dobbins.
Yep.
Yeah.
I luckily have lots of J.K. Dobbins.
Nice. Our good friend Axel Jansen joining us here seemingly weekly here. Jarvis Landry or T.Y. Hilton in PPR.
I'm going to go with the Texan Slayer, T.Y. Hilton. He's going to have yet again another awesome game. NBA Jam rules are fully in effect. He is on fire right now. As much as I like Landry, I just think Hilton's too hard to bench right now.
Yeah, I agree. I have him as a fringe wide receiver 1 this week. Again, I mean, he always just smashes this matchup against the Texans. So, yeah, ride that hot hand. Absolutely. Back to Broderick here with Leonard Fournette, J.K. Dobbins, or Hines. We pretty much answered that just 30 seconds ago.
Yeah, it's going to be Dobbins for sure here. I'm curious what you would say to stick out Dobbins just in general, Fournette or Hines. I want to know how you feel about Leonard Fournette this week, because it's a really confusing situation that we really don't know what Arians is going to do.
Yeah, I would probably lean toward Hines here for safety, and that's saying something considering it's Nyheim Hines. Just because Leonard Fournette, I mean, he was a healthy scratch last week, so add that with the possibility of maybe a Keyshawn Vaughn working in, or maybe a LaShawn McCoy. You don't. The volatility of his touches is off the charts. So if that's something where I have to throw in a running back in my fantasy playoffs where, I'm trying to get obviously the most points that I can, I'm going to go with Nyheim Hines here in a good matchup versus Fournette, where you literally throw a dart, could land anywhere. Yeah,
but to be clear, we're saying Dobbins. Dobbins is the clear choice.
Dobbins is absolute lock button this week against Jacksonville. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Back to Axel Jansen, Rashard Higgins, Traquan Smith, or Russell Gage for wide receiver 2 in standard.
It's a tough question. Higgins for floor and Smith for ceiling. Gage, I just don't have enough trust in him.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said about Julio Jones being out, but you said Higgins for floor, you said?
Yeah, probably for the floor. I think that, he has a safety net of probably, 3-4 catches for 50 to 80 yards. Whereas Smith, he really could do 1 for 10, but he could also do like 3 for 110 and a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm gonna pivot over to Rashard Higgins here. With Traquan Smith, there could be just it could be just something where it's Kamara and Jared Cook, and it almost doesn't even matter the other guys. I mean, yeah, it gets against the Chiefs, and you're going to have to get the wide receivers involved. I would pivot more toward Emmanuel Sanders than anybody, certainly over Traquan. But I do think Traquan does have that deep ability to get targeted by Breeze. I mean, how we know Breeze has a low A anyway. Mm-hmm. So what are how many deep shots are they really going to take with Traquan Smith?
That's what I'm curious about. Are Breeze's ribs going to be Stafford-esque and prevent him from doing that? And it's just going to be a lot of shorter passes and whatnot. So I completely agree here. I'm going to go with Higgins.
Yep. Let's go over to J.K. Dobbins or Jonathan Taylor in standard. Ooh, having to make a decision between these two guys.
It's not even close for me. Like, Dobbins has too much risk. Jonathan Taylor has been awesome lately, and especially against the Texans. Didn't he go for like 125 and a couple touchdowns last 2 weeks ago when they played?
I'm going to it right now. He had a touchdown, 13 for 91, 3 catches for 44. So he finished as running back 5 on the week 2 weeks ago against Houston.
I don't see how you can move away from him. As hyped as everyone is on Dobbins, I think that there's still so much risk with him. This is a Gus Edwards game if I've ever seen one. I mean, the spread is like 13 points, I think. Like, they're going to just destroy them.
Yeah, and the Colts do have one of the highest implied totals of the week as well. So I would lean toward Taylor. I have Taylor over Dobbins in my rankings, and that seems much safer to me. Though I think Dobbins don't get me wrong, Dobbins has our overall RB1 upside this week against Jacksonville. This could be an absolute breakout game, and Edwards is going to be involved too. But go Taylor here, certainly in standard. Adam Thielen or Justin Jefferson for wide receiver 2 in PPR.
When it's a tough matchup, I'm always going to default to Adam Thielen. When it's a really good matchup, I'm always going to default to Adam Thielen if it's between Thielen and Jefferson. Jefferson is fantastic, but he is the number 2 on that option on that team. And Adam Thielen, I mean, he's what is he, top 6 right now? Top 7? Like, he leads the NFL in touchdowns, I think.
Yeah, he's up there. It is to be said that Kyle Fuller will be on Thielen. I believe Jalen Johnson for the Bears is questionable today, and he would be the guy that would lock up with Justin Jefferson. So that's certainly something we'll keep an eye on. And actives will be out in about 20 minutes or so. So I'll take a look at that. But right now, I'd go with Thielen. I don't think you can get away from him right now.
Yeah, completely.
And a kicker question from our good friend Axel. Nick Folk, Ryan Suckup, or Cody Parkey?
I'm going to let you answer these. I'm terrible with the kicker question. Sorry, Axel.
So Nick Folk, that's at Miami. Suckup. I believe is that a home game? I can't remember. Yes. No, that's indoors with Atlanta. I would go with Suckup here. Implied point total that both teams are going to be scoring quite a bit. I'm going to suck up here.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, fire them up. I got some questions for you if you want me to rattle off a couple here.
Yep, let's do them.
All right, so you're going to start 3 of these guys. So eliminate 2: Calvin Ridley, Marvin Jones, Evans, Lockett, McLaurin.
You start 2.
Start 3, so eliminate 2.
So
out of Ridley, Marvin, Evans, Lockett, McLaurin.
Ridley, Evans, McLaurin. Lockett is 2 boomer bust, and whoever the second one was, Marvin Jones. I have no faith in Marvin Jones in this week and in general. Like, I like him as a wide receiver 3 right now. I don't know if he's anything above that. Maybe a back end wide receiver 2, but the other ones all have wide receiver overall 1 upside, and Marvin doesn't have that.
Yeah, I would have to agree there. Certainly. I would probably go with those 3 as well. I would just eliminate Marvin Jones out of there. And as tough as it is to say, I think you got to just pivot off of Lockett right now. If you have to start him, you have to start him. And he's got upside, but he just has not shown it over the past almost 6 weeks now. So that's a guy where I get it. It's easy to just set and forget, but you can't ignore, everything that's going on around him. Since he had that 200-yard game in week 7, he has, I believe, single digits in PPR. Actually, he's been double digits in PPR 4 out of the 7 weeks, but he just has not done anything. He has 1 touchdown in that span.
It'll be fun in the off season to talk about him when we do like a full keeper series and stuff like that. And Lockett is in my opinion, one of the biggest questions, but also because I have personal bias.
Yeah. Understandable. Arctic Orange here with Hawkinson or pick up Irv Smith half PPR.
I wouldn't rock the boat. Hawkinson is going. I think Hawkinson's going to be hyper targeted this game more so than any of the other pass catchers for the Lions.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can get off TJ Hawkinson today, though, or Smith, is coming on. He's got the job to himself, but I wouldn't get cute. I'd just keep Hawkinson and keep the boat afloat here. And then Axel Jansen over here, Tyler Higbee, Irv Smith, or Jonnu Smith for tight end 2 in PPR. Now it's Irv Smith.
Yeah. Man, what was I listening to? It might have been the Fantasy Footballers, but they were talking about Tyler Higbee, and it kind of just got in my head that with that game, is there going to be, I don't know. I'm going to go with Irv Smith just because I think it's a closer game. Higbee could easily have a blow-up game, but right now, the Jets are most beatable everywhere, but also in particular in the slot, which I think it's just going to be Kupp and Woods and Akers all day. But I think that Higbee is the blow-up game. I think Irv Smith is the safer game. So whatever you need for that particular team, I would go with that. And Jonnu is no longer relevant. As we say that, he's going to go for 80 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that the way that always works, though? I mean, we get off a guy, and then it's the FCK curse. I'll just say that. Got a non-lineup question here, but we'll let you field this one, Gary. Is the rating champ Gary still in SFBX?
I am not. I missed playoffs by 40 points. Thank CMC, because I guarantee he would have gotten me 40 more points than whoever else I was starting weekly. I know that we do actually have a couple people from Fighting Chance Fantasy year out. But Leo is still in. Leo Grand, is that his last name?
Grandio, yeah.
Yeah. I know that he's for sure still in. He has a strong roster. So he's at Smooth1074 on Twitter. Definitely follow him, and you can see what's going on with there. But hopefully Fighting Chance can bring home another championship. It would kind of rock the entire fantasy community to have a site go back to back. Yeah,
exactly. And, we would have to worry about getting poached over here. There's something in the water here at Fighting Chance Fantasy, certainly. Not that there isn't anyway, but, I mean, if that were to happen, oh, my God, look out.
Right.
So, all right. So I got some more questions for you. Let me just pull it up here. James Robinson or Cam Akers?
I mean, it's obviously Cam Akers. We've been preaching you never bench James Robinson. But if Cam Akers is your alternate, I mean, you're going from literally the top defense to like one of the worst defenses. Like, I'm going to go with Cam Akers 10 out of 10 there. Cam Akers, just so I think Cam Akers is going to encroach on borderline first round pick next year. I think he's just going to get super hyped and get up there. And I think he should be a second round pick next year for sure. He's going to be awesome.
You're talking about Akers now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's I mean, we don't think about it, and that's something. Yeah, I definitely want to touch on that and kind of predict what the first round or second round will be. We'll do that on Fighting Chance Live after the season here, but yeah, that's going to be definitely a fun conversation because there's so many great options that are likely to go in that first round, and you can only have 10 or 12. So Cam Akers will certainly be in that conversation if he can just reel off awesome game to finish out the season here.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. So we got some more questions in the chat here. Vikings defense, Cowboys defense, or Bengals defense for DST2.
So I was debating this earlier between the Vikings and the Cowboys. Vikings defense is better. Cowboys go against Mullins, who's probably going to be more turnover prone. Bengals aren't an option for me. I think Ben's going to go off and be a top 8 play. I'm going to go with the Vikings just because they probably won't have as many points put up against them, whereas the Niners, I still think, have a chance to easily score 30, even if it's just Jeff Wilson touchdowns and Raheem Mostert, and Ayuk. So.
Yeah, I would lean toward the Vikings as well. I mean, you always have Mitch Trubisky who can just absolutely tank your offense. As solid as he's been since getting put into the starting role for Nick Foles, there's always that non-zero shot that Mitch Trubisky could just turn into a pumpkin, and the Vikings can certainly capitalize on that with San Francisco, like you said. That offense could just put up 30 points and not even blink against that run game against Dallas. And I don't think that they can really do anything to stop Brandon Ayuk either. So I like the Vikings here.
Zeke is out. So if you were debating Zeke the answer is or.
Yeah, let me take
That's
a look
wild.
at that. That's wild. I didn't.
Yeah.
I thought he's a competitive guy, and I know he wants to play, but geez, let's take a look here. Nothing for the Titans.
Oh my
Nothing.
God. And Gesicki and Parker and Grant are out.
All of them are out.
Yeah.
Okay. Lynn Bowden's season is here. Just want to throw that one out there. Also, Jalen Johnson is out for the Bears. So Buster Screen is also out for the Bears. So they are down their second and third corner, which should bode well for the Vikings today.
I want to know. Man, so many things are happening all at once. I want to know then for you, are you still Wilson or Bowden for RB PPR?
Now, knowing now, I am Bowden. Right now, it's Mac Hollins, it's Adam Shaheen, it's who honestly, who else is DeAndre Washington? I guess is he running the ball and Lynn Bowden? I mean, he's been playing in the slot and he did very well the last 2 weeks against the Bengals and last week as well. So you got to fire him up here. I think he's a very safe PPR option now, just knowing what else they have right now.
So you are saying Bowden over Wilson?
Lynn Bowden over Jeff Wilson, yes.
We need a text. Sorry, guys. Lots of conversations with people. All right. I got it.
And a question actually came up on Twitter here regarding DJ Chark and Lynn Bowden. I got tagged in that, and I am the only person who said Lynn Bowden. The poll has it 44 to 39% in favor of Chark, but I think now Lynn Bowden. I'm hanging my hat on that, my elf hat.
Okay, I need you to pick one PPR. CEH, Naeem Hines, or DJ Chark?
CEH, Naeem Hines, or DJ Chark PPR?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I think I'm going Hines.
I'd still go with CEH, but it's close between the two.
Yeah.
I just think that obviously not that we're expecting what happened last week with Miles Sanders is going to happen this week, but I do think there still will be lanes for CEH to be able to do, to get a little bit of work in and do his thing and then be a PPR guy. Obviously, when you have Mahomes, it's going to open up anything, no matter what defense he's playing against. So
yeah,
I think he's almost going to be in. All right, you think that 3 interception game against Miami is weighing on me? I think this is a game where he just asserts himself, and I think CH is going to be able to benefit from that today.
Then last question. Stafford, Trubisky, or Hurts? Pick one. They're my QB2.
Hurts.
Yeah, it's
upside.
Agreed. All right.
Upside for
regular scheduled programming.
Right. Jared Goff or Drew Brees in 4-point passing touchdown. It's Goff for me. I don't think it's close.
Really? It's not at all for me. It's totally Brees.
Oh man.
So okay,
I don't know.
So let's play out game scripts, right? Like hyper competitive game against the Chiefs. It's somehow Vegas is saying it's a 3-point spread, which is blowing my mind because of the over under. Like this is going to be a high scoring game. We know that Brees can throw a touchdown to anyone, which obviously any quarterback can't, but Goff, on the other hand, is probably going to have a very Akers heavy game. You're hoping that he gets a few touchdowns. You're hoping that he doesn't turn over the ball. Brees is a Hall of Famer, and Jared Goff has finally made his contract look a little bit better this year.
I will say this. Now, I don't have the over-unders in front of me, but I will say that I would venture to say that the Saints and Chiefs are up there for implied point totals and one of the higher over-unders in the slate. So if you're looking at the probability of how those teams get there, I would say that's more of a Kamara and running game versus Brees getting there with his arm in his first game back. Yeah. So if I pivot over to Goff, yes, Cam Akers is going to be heavily involved. We've been talking about him all morning, but I don't think Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods just go away, or Tyler Higbee. I don't think they go away. I think that team scores over 40 points today.
The Rams?
Yeah. I think that's almost a lock today.
It's so tough. They're like 17-point favorites.
The Rams are?
Yeah. And it's an over-under of 45 versus 3-point favorites for the Chiefs with an over-under of 53.
Yeah, I think the Rams get over 40 today. I think they just outclass the Jets. I think Goff still gets there. If he goes 280, 2 touchdowns, I think that's good enough for him to be a fringe quarterback one today. I mean, I think that's certainly within the realm of possibilities, and Cam Akers can still get there too. So I just think the floor is way too high to ignore Jared Goff today, even though the ceilings for both are probably equal.
Mark Ingram is out. What? No, he only had one touch. I get it. But still, just the fact that this is now officially a Dobbins-Edwards game. What a wild week right now. Jimmy Graham is active, which means Cole Kmet's season, just for the fact that he even had to be listed as injured. Zeke is out. Stafford's active. Mo Alley Cox active. Salvin Ahmed active. That's interesting. Gesicki, Parker, Grant are all out. Madison is active. James White and Nick Folk are active. Didn't even know that Nick Folk was injured. And Deontay Foreman's out, and Antonio Gibson, which we knew. But Marcus Peters is out. That's pretty interesting for DJ Chark. Who else? Philip Gaines is also out for Houston. Jesus, they're going to get slaughtered. I'm so glad I took Rivers as my QB.
So T.Y. Hilton and Vernon Hargraves, is that oh man. That's T.Y. Hilton wide receiver 1 this week.
This is going to be wild. I'm excited for my DK lineup for once.
Yeah, and this is this time where you need to take advantage of this stuff and, get these guys in your lineup, guys like T.Y. Hilton, who might have been fringe decisions, looking at kind of the periphery of everything going on and how this guy being out affects T.Y. Hilton, how, Mark Ingram, granted, 1 carry, whatever, but it's going to just condense that backfield even more for J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. And that makes Gus Edwards a play too. Absolutely. I think he's a flex play. But yeah, this is stuff that we should be paying attention to. This is stuff that can get you from, well, I think I might be able to win to, all right, I feel great. I've got, great players in great situations, and I'm 100% confident in my lineup.
Yeah, completely.
We're starting to get some questions, so let's hop into these here. Big Ben or Kirk Cousins standard? Just feel like Ben might not have to do too much against the Bengals.
I actually do like Big Ben. I disagree with that he's not going to have to do much solely because they don't have a get-right game. James Conner is banged up, and Benny Snell's terrible. And so, yeah, their running game is their passing game, even if it's short and stuff. And I will say this, I still like Deontay Johnson. I think that people are fading him way too fast. I get that it happens, but my logic, again, running backs get benched. We don't fade them the next week. We just say they learned their lesson because they fumbled or something. So Deontay is going to be a strong play. Plus Claypool. Those 3 guys are just awesome. So.
And what does it say that Jalen Samuels outsnapped James Conner last week? I mean, Is there any more definitive proof that the Steelers do not want to establish the run?
Yep.
I mean, I think Ben's going to be fine. He's going to have the volume. It's just they just don't want to run the ball, and I don't see why they don't turn to a guy like Anthony McFarland here to just I guess you're in the playoffs and you want to get your guys, but I mean, if you don't put him out there, how do you know what you have? That's a guy that could be one of those late season. Hey, remember when Anthony McFarland went off in week 15 and helped us win a Super Bowl? I mean, with what you got right now, you know what you have in Connor, who's banged up. You know what you have in Benny Snell, who's just whatever. Yeah. Why not at this point?
Yep. Agreed.
I mean, look who the guys they were turning to last year. The one that was like a tight end and a fullback. I can't remember his name for life. I mean, they were trotting out 5th or 6th string guys last year. I mean, granted, it was the lost cause, but it is what it is. All right. So Axel Jansen, Matt Gay, Graham Gano, or Dustin Hopkins for kicker 2. I'm going to go Gano. I guess I don't think the Rams game. I don't think that's going to be competitive. So I think that's going to knock down Gay's upside. Hopkins, you can make a case for with Washington, but it's going to get to a point where they're going to have to just go for it on fourth and not kick field goals. So I think the best chance of a game being moderately competitive would be the Giants and Browns. And I think Graham Gano would be my answer here.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. We're back to the Mutual Admiration Society podcast here. Fire up Pollard over Swift. I don't know if I go that far, but I understand it.
Pollard over Swift.
I understand the thinking. I really do. I just don't know what the upside is of Dallas running backs right now, knowing that, Zeke has been banged up, and that's probably contributed to him just being faded across the board. But I don't think you could play Pollard over Swift right now, even against Tennessee.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd still put in Swift. CH for me when we were talking about that before. Let's see. I could also pick up and play Hurts over Goff or Breeze. I'd probably still go with Goff here, but I don't know. That's tougher. That's a conversation.
Say the question again.
Hurts or Goff? I believe that's 4-point touchdowns. They're pretty equal for me, I would say. Just rushing upside. Arizona's got a week of tape on Hurts.
I'll probably go with Goff. Arizona's defense has been playing pretty darn well.
Yeah. We'll see if that's a one-off or if Hurts really has that Eagles offense transformed. I mean, it's kind of crazy to say that he didn't get sacked once last week. Hurts didn't. So whether that's just a one-off and just an anomaly, we'll see. But I would play Goff right now. I mean, I think Goff is the trusted play here, though Hurts has the upside.
Yes. I'm still going to go with Breeze regardless. But I just want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah, making sure that's put out there. Nick Mullins, Colt McCoy, or Haskins for QB2. I think it's Mullins. Slam dunk.
Yeah, I think it's Mullins too. I want to get to this next question real quick. I've been saying it all along. If you're relying on Sleeper is slow. I think that they are slow. Actually, download the Fantasy Life app. It was created by Matt Berry and some others, or at least they're like big promoters of it. I actually think it is Matt Berry's. It is awesome, and they are the fastest. I don't use it for any of the other features other than just their news, and it is by far the fastest because they take Roto World now that it's gone. They also take Twitter. They take all sorts of stuff and they pass it along. So anytime you see a sleeper notification, more than likely it's at least 30 seconds to a few minutes behind, and that's the difference of getting somebody off of the waivers, off of free agency in the middle of the week.
Yep, 100%. I mean, I downloaded it and I had it before and never really did anything with it and always really relied on Sleeper. But I mean, Sleeper is a great platform, to get me wrong, but Fantasy Life is just, that is the difference, like Gary said, between picking up a guy and going over to Sleeper and seeing that he's gone already. I mean, it gets you ahead of the game. We're not sponsored by them, but if you want to have your people contact our people, aka me and Gary. Exactly. Let's see. Just got the Zeke news. I wonder how much Taysom Hill will be used today. I think it'll be more than most expects. That's a fair point. Not enough to put him in any lineups, but I think he'll just be back to his normal role, and it does fluctuate between a few designed runs here and then like a goal line run too. But yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yep. And so it's Breeze over Hurts for Gary. I think you made that abundantly clear.
Yes.
All right. See, look at that. We're getting we're getting the people what they want. So, like I said, have your people call our people. That's me and Gary. Yeah, let's go over Deontay Johnson or Wayne Gallman today.
Deontay Johnson or Wayne Gallman. Deontay Johnson, like definitely for me.
Yeah, I mean Gallman's tapered off a little bit. We had a good conversation about Deontay Johnson on Wednesday for Fighting Chance Live here. So yeah, Gary, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's I think I would hope they learn the error of their ways, and I think Deontay Johnson should be playing and should be fine. I just have that in the back of my mind that something's going to happen with Deontay Johnson again this week. I can't shake it, but I understand you just have to roll with the guy.
Yep.
Good friend Andrew Hall, Pollard or Godwin in PPR flex with Zeke out.
I don't know.
He's flummoxed.
I don't know. Like Godwin has had one top 12 game, I think, all season. I don't actually know what Pollard's going to do here. I'm probably just going to go with Pollard for the floor. Evans is the primary target on that team. Godwin has just been so, I don't know. It's been weird because he's been banged up so much. I think Atlanta is going to do better in this game than people expect. I think that their defense has come on stronger than people realize. And so, yeah, I'm probably going to go with Pollard, even though I don't feel comfortable about either of them.
I mean, Godwin is a great matchup at Atlanta. I mean, let's get that right. He had the pin removed out of his hand too. So, I think Atlanta at Detroit, Atlanta, if there's an avenue for Godwin to recoup some value, it's this week against Atlanta. I'm going to roll Godwin here over Pollard, though. Yeah. But I think both are quality starts now. Certainly.
Yes.
Yeah. Just, I don't know if that's the selfish part of me because I've drafted Chris Godwin in a lot of leagues and really just, hasn't recouped that value, but I think he can do it. I mean, they shuffle between those three wide receivers between Brown. I mean, Brown's kind of phased out a little bit, but you're talking Edmonds and then Gronk with a touchdown value there and Godwin. I just think it's too juicy a matchup to pass up.
Yeah.
Here we go. Deep dive of the week. Juice, Kyle Juszczyk, Jalen Samuels, or Travion Williams for running back 3 in PPR.
It's interesting seeing Travion in there. I mean, I'm still going to go with Juice, especially because Debo's out, Kittle's out. Like, I think this is a game where Juice will still get some of his. Every time he scores a touchdown, Axel, I genuinely am like, yes, yeah, for Axel. Like, totally.
Yeah. I'd probably go with Juice as well. I mean, how many times are the Bengals going to honestly run the ball this week? I mean, and Jalen Samuels, who knows? He could still get snaps too, but who knows? That's exactly. At least Juice he can kind of bank on for at least some viability here in a great matchup.
I have a question that just popped up on Twitter. So Ridley versus Tampa Bay or Robinson versus A-Rob versus the Vikings.
Allen Robinson, 100%.
Yeah.
That's honestly, Ridley's awesome, but you got to figure the Falcons, it's without Julio, it's now Ridley. That takes Ridley down a little bit. I don't know if Ryan can put up a big game and let Ridley be that factor against this defense. Give me Robinson. I think Trubisky with his one read, is usually over to Robinson, and he can do what he wants against Minnesota.
Hey, Kevin, who are you starting over Matt Ryan in your league?
I'm starting mostly everybody that's starting this week over Matt Ryan. Like outside of Ryan Finley.
Aren't you starting Nick Mullins?
I am 100%. Matt Ryan is QB 26 for me this week.
Yeah, which is understandable.
The only other guys I have below him are Andy Dalton, Sam Darnold, McCoy, Haskins, Minshew, and Finley. I have Tua over Ryan. I had Bridgewater over Ryan. Stafford, Newton. Yeah, I have all. Yeah,
I hate taking unders in games, but that's one of the few games where I would consider taking the under.
Falcons, Bucks.
Yeah, just because I don't know. Maybe I'm overly excited for or whatever the right word is for the Falcons defense, but I don't know. It's either going to be the Bucks completely blow them out, or it's just a slog fest between them.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan here is his last 4 weekly finishes for among fantasy quarterbacks. QB 26 in week 11, QB 17 against the Raiders in week 12, QB 26 against the Saints again, QB 28 against the Chargers. In 2 of those matchups, granted, you say what you want against the Saints, but Vegas and the Chargers are 2 passing matchups that are better than average.
Yep.
And if he can't do it against those 2, what are the odds without Julio that he's going to do anything of note against Tampa? He's a complete fade for me. And this is a guy, I love Matt Ryan. I mean, as a fantasy quarterback, but it's the time now where I think Matt Ryan is no longer a viable QB1 in any league going forward.
Yep, completely. Is this an odd year or is this an even year? Might be an odd year.
It's 2020. It's an odd year or even year.
So he was supposed to go off.
Yeah. So that should tell you, everything you need right there.
It's also 2020. So I don't know if 2020 counts for anything.
2020 factors in.
Hey, thank you, Axel. It's a great question. I saw that Chad Hansen was put back to the practice squad.
Really? I missed that.
So he was put to the practice squad this week, but yesterday they put him back up to the active roster. I don't really know what was going on there. Yeah,
that might have been just some roster finagling there. It looks like he was brought back to the active roster. So unless they just needed a spot right then and there, who knows? But I would still throw him in as maybe a low end flex. I would not in this case. In this question, Cam Sims, Chad Hansen, Willie Snead. I am 100% going with. Weird. Do you have this up on the screen? I can't actually see it. Yeah, it was up there.
Weird. I can't see it. I'm going with Willie Snead. Willie Snead is super underrated, and like he came off of COVID, I believe, this past week and wasn't used a ton, but which was weird considering the score and everything. But that was just a weird game. Willie Snead's actually been pretty damn good, especially if you're talking about a wide receiver 4. He is vastly better than wide receiver 4.
Yeah, I would agree with there, and it's. Yeah, I like Willie Snead too, especially in this, Cam Sims. Who knows? I could also score a touchdown, but you could also have a 0 floor too. Yeah, just give me him, give me Snead, and I think there's certainly enough of a floor there where he's not going to kill you. Yeah, totally. All right. So I got a couple more questions for you here. Let's see. I did ask this one already. Ravens against Jacksonville or Browns against Giants defense? I'm sorry, someone just texted me. Say it again. Ravens or Browns defense? Ravens. Without hesitation? Yeah, there's a better defense. All right. Somehow I have the first place record in our big money league, and I was able to get the Browns off of waivers, which was shocking. But there is a world where, Colt McCoy is not terrible. Whereas Colt McCoy and Minshew, I would prefer to have Minshew, and James Robinson over Colt McCoy and Wayne Gallman. But the Ravens are, they're so good, and the likelihood of who is going to have a pick 6, it's going to be the Ravens. Even if Marcus Peters is out, which sucks, but there's still Marlon Humphrey. He's so awesome. Yeah, I get that. Marquise Brown, not Hollywood, Marquise Brown or Chase Claypool. Marquise Brown or Chase Claypool? Yeah. Claypool. Marquise Brown shouldn't be started. If you have to start him and you're in the semis, that sucks.
But Chase Claypool could easily go for 2-3 touchdowns this week.
You could. So could anybody else, but I get it.
Marquise Brown can't.
I suppose. Cooper Kupp, T.Y. Hilton, or Emmanuel Sanders for wide receiver 3 in standard?
That's a tough one.
Going Hilton.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Hilton. Kupp is a very close second. Manny isn't.
What a difference a month makes, by the way.
Right?
Especially with T.Y. Hilton. I mean, how many times did I call that dude just absolute dust?
Yeah.
And now he's the damn belle of the ball in the fantasy playoffs. And now we're never going to hear the end of that. And people are going to be starting him for the next 4 years based off these last 3 weeks.
I mean, I completely agree. Part of me always wonders, it's a new QB, figuring out the system. Rivers took 5 weeks to really get acclimated, or whatever the hell it was, shake off the dust. Maybe he had a 15th child that had just been born. But they're looking good. Michael Pittman's not on fantasy radars right now. He is long-term, but not this week. And he could easily go off this week, but because that's his guy, that's what he does. But he's not somebody I want to be relying on week in, week out. I mean, this is TY's team and JT's team.
Yeah, as far as comfortability and being able to trust the guy to put in your lineup, there's no question it's T.Y. Hilton. I mean, between the Colts receivers, pretty much before T.Y. Hilton came back and emerged, it was Pittman who were starting just on upside because they spread the ball out to literally everybody else. So now that Hilton's here, Pittman kind of takes a back seat, though. Pittman and Hilton can coexist. We'll see what happens at the quarterback position. If Hilton's still there, whoever they bring in, maybe they bring Rivers back for another year, and it is what it is. But, Hilton 100%. All right, so got a couple more questions here for you. Brandon Cooks or Marvin Jones?
Brandon Cooks or Marvin Jones? Brandon Cooks, not even close.
Not even close. Okay. Cole Kmet or Dallas Goedert?
Man, I don't actually know what Dallas did last week.
We'll tell you in just a moment here. 4 for 43.
Yeah.
6 targets.
This is tough. I love me some Dallas Goedert. I think he's locked in tight end, top 5 tight end next year.
You already know my choice.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with it, even though I have Kmet going in some spots. I think that I'm worried that Kmet's ceiling is Goddard's floor.
I think they both have the same floor. I would argue you can make the argument that Goddard can certainly just absolutely destroys Cole Kmet's ceiling. You can make that argument. I just have a feeling, Arizona is not the tight end defense that we've known the last couple of years. They're moderately, they're competent. So if you're looking at Jalen Hurts and you're looking at, all these options in the offense, Goddard is probably the tight end, the second or third option in that offense. I think Zach Ertz still has to work his way back in. You're looking at Rager, you're looking at Jeffrey. I would say Miles Sanders is just number one right now, without a doubt, certainly over the passing game. And then Cole Kmet, we talked about it on Wednesday as well, how he's basically the second option in the Bears offense right now outside Allen Robinson. So that could be a wash. I like the matchup at Minnesota for Chicago. I think they're going to pass quite a bit here in this game. So I'm gonna roll the dice and go with the opportunity that he's gotten and go with Cole Kmet. 14 targets the last 2 weeks. Had a touchdown in week 13. Could certainly get one this week. Obviously him and Goddard can get a touchdown, but it is what it is.
I hope that whoever asked this question is listening because it's not in the chat. And I'm going to go with Goddard. Pick whoever you like more. I trust Kevin more than me, but I'm going with Goddard.
Yeah, and you can make a case for both. I have them back to back in my rankings. So I've Kmet at 6. Kmet at 6, Goddard at 7. So, it's pretty much flip a coin right now. It's tough to say that in your fantasy playoffs, but
I got a question for you before we jump to Axel's, and that's Ridley or A-Rob? Damn it, I already asked that question. I'm sorry.
You did.
I was still having that conversation. The other one was Cooper or Deontay.
Amari Cooper.
Yeah, that's what
yeah, I like that matchup in San Francisco. I think he's going to get just volume. I think Dalton to Cooper is really the only thing that has worked in this offense. I mean, he's touchdowns 3 straight weeks. Give me Amari Cooper. Yeah. I mean, we know the run game, Pollard. We'll see what happens with that, but right now, go with what you know, and that's Amari Cooper.
Let's close out with Axel's 2 questions.
Yes, DeAndre Swift for Raheem Mostert or David Montgomery for running back 2 in standard.
I would like to know your answer.
I'll go Monty.
Yeah, that's what I am also going with David Montgomery. Raheem Mostert could go off, but I don't know. I'm nervous about that. So yeah, I'm going to go with him because of Swift. This is a perfect ending point because of my rant about Stafford earlier. Stafford tore his rib cartilage. That shit doesn't heal overnight. Like that is a tough injury for him to have to maneuver around and whatnot. So I'm going to fade everybody other than Hawkinson.
Yeah, that's tough, but yeah, I get it. I'll go with Monty. Monty's just, you can't sit him right now in any format. The way he's going, the opportunity he's getting, he's pretty much the only guy there outside of those random Cordell Patterson runs up the middle. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. And then the most important question, I will say, of the night or of the day: biscuits and gravy or chicken fried steak?
Chicken fried steak for me.
I go biscuits and gravy, man.
Depends if we're talking breakfast or dinner.
Biscuits and gravy all day.
Yeah, it depends on the gravy.
I need to ask you one more thing before we go out. If you were in a draft and you had to pick one soup, what's your 101 of soup? You know where I'm going with this.
You know where I'm going with this. I already told you. It's clam chowder. You're nuts with the lobster bisque. I used to work at a restaurant on the harbor in Santa Barbara, California. Best damn chowder probably I've ever had. RIP Chuck's Waterfront Grill. And the lobster bisque was always like, it has to hit for it to be good, whereas the chowder is always good.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I love chowder, and chowder would be chowder would be the Alvin Kamara of drafts. I will say that, but I think Chris McCaffrey, the 101 is lobster bisque. And you're right. It has to be the perfect consistency. It can't be too liquid. It can't be like watery, but it can't be so thick either. It has to be that perfect, wavy, for lack of a better term. And there has to be enough lobster in it too. It can't just be one piece of lobster here and there. And they have to be bigger pieces too.
I'm incredibly hungry right now.
Not gonna lie, dude, that bread bowl hit so good yesterday.
All that fresh lobster that you have up in North Dakota.
Damn right. We got that. No, I'm not even gonna lie. We got this biscuit like Sam's Club, but
nice.
But it was really friggin' good though.
Yeah,
All right. We're gonna get out of here. It's week 15. So if you have more questions, got about 55 minutes before kickoff of week 15. The Sunday slate of week 15. We already had 3 games play, I should say. So send them over at KTompkinsII at Gary Haddow 1. We will do our best to answer them before games kick off. And so with that, Gary, anything else to add before we hop on out of here?
No, man. Good luck, everybody. It's been such an awesome season. It's crazy to think we have one more show, or I guess 2 more shows, but one more week after this, and that's it for the fantasy season. Unless you have a kick-ass league like mine that goes all the way to the Super Bowl, but that's for another show.
Ooh, that's spicy. I don't know if I could do that. I'd be the one complaining in the chat that why are we still going in the Super Bowl? But it is what it is. Well, for Gary Haddow, I'm Kevin Tompkins, both of fightingchancefantasy.com. So go check us out there. Lots of great articles, rankings, start sits, all that stuff to get you ready for your fantasy playoffs this week. So good luck, everybody, and we'll see you later.
Good luck, Axel.